So Raymond Hall is our county's detention facility for youth.
They could be there from a month to a year or 2 years. That's where they will be until they get their sentencing from the judge.
Some come from single-parent homes. There's a lot of kids that are in the foster system.
A lot of them facing just kind of a sense of not really having a family that cares about them. They do have family a lot of the times, but it's broken family.
Majority of them were raised without a father in the home. No guidance in the home, and they're gonna spend most of their time with other youth. Unfortunately, they were hanging out with youth that were not making good decisions. There's kids that were loners, and then there's kids that were part of gangs. Two different spectrums, but ending up at the same place.
They have traumas that have influenced the decisions that they've made. And so then we're coming alongside them, trying to help them maybe learn a little bit about themselves, as well as learn about our story, and then ultimately pointing them to God's story.
But they're really cool. Like they're girls that have dreams in their life, and they care about their futures, and they want someone to care about their futures too. They want someone to care about them. And a lot of the times that's the missing piece. They're just people that haven't run into a lot of people that care about them.
So before the pandemic, we were in the facility 3 times a week on average. We would go into the living pod. We would play dominoes, so games, and getting to know them as individuals.
And when the pandemic hit, the doors were closed to being able to walk into Raymond Hall and talk to these kids in person. It was a shocker, and at the same time, it was like, oh wow, how do we reach these kids now?
Even during the pandemic timeframe, there was a lot of organizations that chose to not continue on and not continue programming over Zoom. And so we ended up being the only ministry, the only organization that continued working with the kids and continued showing up time and time again. And the staff worked with us. They were really flexible and allowed us to go onto Zoom. And not all would opt in to participate and no longer play cards and dominoes and things like that.
There's a lot of dead air on Zoom that's hard to fill. Like in person, it's like you're playing a game, or you're shuffling, or it's like dead air isn't as dead as it is on Zoom. So there's a sense of disappointment when they're not showing up.
That was hard because you really want to talk to these kids. You really want to get to know them and just share the love of Christ with them.
Yeah, during that time, it really was hopeless. It felt hopeless anyways. And so there's a lot of challenges to the point of where it felt futile. It felt like it was this daunting task. Here we go again. To make sure that I'm in place that night, that evening, I got to adjust my entire schedule that day to make sure that I'm ready.
So the turning point, what I saw from my experience was there was some visual fruit that we were able to see with a couple youth in there.
There was this girl that just was really into God. Like she was an evangelist in there. Like she was reading the Bible in there. She was having other people read the Bible. She came in knowing Christ, but she was very on fire for it. And
here this young man was, where he once was at a loss and full despair, and now, despite all that he was facing as far as charges goes, he was there discipling others, discipling other young men in his living unit. And it wasn't just that unit. As they moved him around into different living units, he continued that trajectory. He continued that sharing of faith.
That definitely gave us extreme hope that this wasn't pointless, that Zoom wasn't just, a trial and error thing, and, God got through to a lot of these youth.
Sometimes it's a challenge, and it looks like dry and barren ground, and it looks like nothing could possibly grow here, and what am I doing? Why am I doing this? There's a lot of questions that come to mind, but it's always just trusting the Lord with what He's given to us and what He's entrusted to us, right? This message of hope and faith and promise of Him being with us and Him being the one who can heal these kids and the one who can deliver them from whatever situation it is that they're in. And so that's what keeps us going.